people are sitting and so many standing, I was almost guaranteed a standing ovation. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to express our gratitude to the environmental community, Green Acres, New Jersey, DEP, Fish and Wildlife, and most of all, the current administration for at long last enabling this property to be protected. The local organization CU Morris River has long referred to this site as the Holly Farm. In fact, Millville's nickname, the Holly City, comes from the holly propagated here. Trees on the White House lawn came from this nursery and still grace the DC lawn. Members of the Fenton family, whose father managed the farm, are thrilled to see it finally preserved. Dan Fenton is with us today, Dan Fenton Jr., right here. Dan. His father was known as Mr. Holly. The huge trees that stood here were planted at distances appropriate for saplings, and these had to come down, and a new habitat is now being implemented for the site. On your tours, you will learn of these plans, but know that hundreds to thousands of hollies are still present on the property. A number of entities have spent 30 years advocating for the protection of the remarkable resource that this property is, completing the missing piece. Barbara, you'll like this, the hole in the donut. That connects thousands of acres of protected land. Today, Dave said 50. For 30 years, this property has had the potential to link two wild and scenic rivers, joining two already preserved spaces. And now it does. As you've heard, the natural resources of this property are remarkable, not just regionally, not just nationally, but in connection with the Bayshore, they are globally significant, an area that the Nature Conservancy refers to as one of the last great places on Earth. One proposal after another was conceived for this land: a hazardous waste entombment facility, coal plants, soccer fields, motorsports park, housing development, and mining, and solar fields and farm fields, just you name it, and each proposal failed to be implemented. Many conservation groups shared a vision that this property should belong to the citizens of New Jersey to protect the forest complex, the aquifer, and many common and rare species that exist here. And many organizations affirmed that these attributes needed to be protected in perpetuity. The New Jersey DEP, Green Acres, and the Division of Fish and Wildlife all testified regarding the unique and special qualities of the Holly Farm. Even the BPU's president, executive, had testified for the property. I was so shocked to see so many people here, and then I thought, oh my gosh, like if I start naming people, we are in trouble. So I do want to say that there were a few groups that stood up for this property throughout the 30 years. I was the New Jersey Audubon, New Jersey Conservation Foundation, I believe Allison Michelle, I believe, is here, and then also Emil DeVito is here, and I don't know who else from your crowd. Anyone else that you want to call out? And Jay. And Jack is on the board. Jack, you're on all the boards. The Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions is here, represented by its executive director, Jennifer Coffey, and who worked on this project for years and years and years. Jody Carrara is also here, who serves on the board. And the executive director of our organization, Citizens United to Protect the Morris River, Carla Rossini. Two land trusts also made many gallant efforts to protect the property and were instrumental in seeing its protection. The Nature Conservancy, Barbara Brummer, and Michael Catania for many years before that, and Tom Wells I saw here today too. And I know you have many other staff, but those are the people that I work most closely with. So we salute the Nature Conservancy as well. And the Natural Lands Trust also was working on this property many occasions. A special thanks is extended to the League of Conservation Voters, who served as an ambassador to the current administration. And then also I saw that Ray Bukowski was here. And if it hadn't been for Ray catching the ball at the right time, I don't think this would have happened. So Ray, thank you. I must single out a few people without whom this would not have been possible. All of us are indebted to Edward Lloyd, Director of the Environmental Law Clinic at Columbia Law School. And if there were two main proponents, and someone once told me at some sort of a conference that if you don't toot your own horn, no one will. So here you go. If there were two main proponents throughout the decades, the 3 decades that it took, thwarting bad ideas and supporting great ones, that would be Emile DeVito and myself. And as you know, we did meet the temporary force of Ed Lloyd. So, a short shout out to Leslie Ficalia in France, who also just relentlessly kept track of every little thing that ever happened here. None of this would have been possible if it weren't for those celebrating 60 years of negotiations. Green Acres, happy anniversary. One person in particular deserves endless accolades, and I'm sure you'll join me. Fawn McKee. A class act, patient, wise, steadfast, and honest. We are all indebted to the entire staff of New Jersey Green Acres program for connecting these lands. During each of the many salvos, not all of the necessary players were aligned. Then, in 2019, with the Murphy administration and new leadership, and the leadership of Atlantic Electric, that all changed. The stars lined up, and today we embrace that history with a single will and desire to protect the site for all time. Thank you for coming. The building behind us was the concept of Brian Parent, a Millville man, much loved leader at Atlantic Electric, who saw it as a center for community. Although his vision for the entire property and mine did not line up, we both agreed on this building's purpose. Not only will it now serve our immediate community, but it will also serve the citizens of New Jersey and our visitors as a Southern Regional Office for the New Jersey DEP Division of Fish and Wildlife. The person at AC who knew the history throughout all those years and recognized the ecological importance of this site was Susan Cohn, who was always seeking a solution to satisfy all the parties. I told her that I looked forward to sharing a podium with her and the Atlantic City Electric Company someday with a shared vision of this property, and today's that day. Susan, would you please come join me so I might fulfill that promise? And she would always tell me, now you know I'm a company person, so I'll just have to do my job. And I said, yes, you just do your job. And then Neil Baker, I was also told, was instrumental in Green Acres discussions. And so really, Neil, come on up. I want to say that this is the joining of something that we've waited for 30 years to be able to stand with these fine corporate people that made a great decision. So, I'm going to finish up. I ask only that we continue 3 decades, of blood, sweat, and tears that all of us have collectively shed to make this happen. And that we go forth as a united force to make this location all that it can be for the city, for the county, for the state, and the country, while working for protection of a unique and exceptional array of species. Thank you, everyone, and a special thank you to the Murphy administration for finally being there to catch the ball when it was thrown. Thank you. I was told I could have 3 to 4 minutes. I think I took 7, and I think you got a bargain.